Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen these films, check them out before watching. Aside from that, enjoy the video. Hello there everyone and welcome to a start of a run of videos that are going to be on the channel. Mainly about horror to start off with and then going into science fiction and maybe fantasy films. It could be about anything, it could even end up being about sitcoms. We'll see how it goes. So today I want to start off with personally one of my favourite franchises. It is one of the shorter ones, but for me, even though people find them easy watches, I do find these to be quite underrated films. I think they are all fantastic, and if you haven't seen them then I highly recommend that you go and check these out. It is of course the Scream franchise. Now some people aren't a big fan of these because they are kind of piss takes of horror films, and I can see why people would think that. But for me, I find them to have some effective horror movie moments, namely the iconic Drew Barrymore scene at the start of the first one. Also the finale of Scream 2 is quite creepy. Also Sydney's mother in the third film. Let's get into our rankings. In at number 4 is Scream 3. Now this doesn't mean that I dislike Scream 3 at all. In fact, quite the reverse. I really like Scream 3. I think it has got some creepy moments. I'd say it is the creepiest in the franchise. But it is definitely the one that has the most problems. It's got a bit of a convoluted plot. Some of the writing is off, some of the performances aren't that good, especially with David Arquette. This definitely is worst performance in the franchise. Neve Campbell, as always, is fantastic as Sidney Prescott. I think she was perfect casting for that role. Courtney Cox as Gail Weathers, again, fantastic casting. One thing that I can never get out of my head is the fact that the house of the director in the film is the same house that they filmed the school at Halloween H2O. So for that reason I can never get it out of my mind that it's a set. But Scream 3 definitely has some fantastic moments. As I said, the mother scenes are quite creepy. Alright, they are direct rip-offs of Psycho. Also the cat and mouse element to Sarah Darlin's death. Probably the highlight of the film. That is definitely one of the creepiest moments, and the fact that it does a thing that not that many horror films do, but it is way more effective. Being killed in broad daylight. Definitely the worst, but definitely still a great film. In at number 3 is Scream 2. Now, Scream 2 is arguably the most slow-paced, and this is quite a lot of people's least favourite. I know a lot of people actually struggle to care that much about the characters. I disagree. I think this is where the characters come into their own. I think you really care about Dewey and Gail in it. Obviously you care about Sydney again. Neve Campbell is fantastic as Sydney. And it has got one of the most effective killings in the whole of horror for me. When Randy gets killed, it's fantastic. Again, cat and mouse element, and it happens directly when you're not expecting it. First time I saw it, I was blown away. The execution of the killings in the Scream franchise is second to none. Also, the opening of Scream 2 with the cinema, very iconic. Of course, very well known for what Scary Movie did it, when the dick went in the ear. Right in there. Okay, in at number 2 is the original 1996 Scream. Fantastic film. This is definitely the best quality film. Wes Craven directed this film near enough perfectly. The use of background noise, even to the slightest detail. So when it gets to the end of the scene where Billy takes Sydney upstairs, you can hear someone very subtly in the background saying, "I want Halloween," and then they end up watching Halloween. The background noise and also the direction is fantastic. This is a more light-hearted horror film, but there are some bits that are terrifying, and they do still scare people. So the "what door am I at?"
What door am I at?
Is still iconic. Of course, what's your favourite scary movie?
What's your favourite scary movie?
And also Scream did a very clever thing with getting a big star like Drew Barrymore and her being the face of Scream, and then she's killed off in the first like 5-10 minutes. Fantastic, because no one would have gone into it expecting that, and that's far more effective. And I just thank God that they went with Neve Campbell as the leading woman for this, because she is absolutely fantastic, as I've said multiple times now. Okay, number 1, there's only one left. It is Scream 4. Now, this is a bit controversial because I know some people, that's the one they don't care about. For them, it might be the worst one. It's definitely my least favourite in terms of how it's filmed. It's very bright. And I know technology actually plays a big part in the film with recording constantly. So maybe that is it. But it feels like a very high-tech film. And it was 2011, so it was in the age where technology was taking over every single film. So maybe that's it, but I still think the conversations in this is fantastic. So I love the scene in the cinema club, students talking about horror, and also the whole use of remakes. Also especially how the first 3 films lead up from being this first film, aka Stab inside Scream, and then the real life sequel, and then a trilogy of a copycat killer, and then Scream 4 being a remake. Very self-aware about the horror genre, about all there are now are remakes. So my favourite things about Scream are actually the discussions and also the kills, because the kills are very well executed. Even though they are fairly to a penny, there's not one that feels really underwhelming. I'd say the most underwhelming kill in the entire franchise is at the start of Scream 4, when the 2 girls are watching Stab, and then her friend stabs her. I think that's the only one you don't care about. And it is just a scene that's in a very self-aware of how bad those films actually are. So in that way, I'd say that is the most underwhelming kill in the entire film. But the rest of them, all I can think of is just fantastic, well thought out, fairly suspenseful kills.
Liar. I'm over this.
I never said I was in your closet.
For me, the Scream franchise are all 10 out of 10 films. I absolutely adore them. If you haven't checked them out, then make sure you do. They're such easy watches. I'd say Scream 4 and the first one are 2 of the most rewatchable films of all time. Casting is almost perfect. I don't think there is actually anyone that I would change. I think they're all fairly solid, even the supporting characters. All I can say now is make sure you go and check out the Scream franchises. As I said, they're all amazing. 10 out of 10s. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. A lot more ranking stuff will be coming back on the channel. Of course, the watch list will be coming. The podcast will be coming. There's so many things coming on the channel. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you very soon.
Write my rhymes in a death note. Kill a career, but you already know. It's time to stop thinking that you're making dough. Just please do as I say so and go.